Good morning. Today I'm going to speak in English, okay? Spanglish, you know? Okay, we have our What Would You Do Season 4 Epic 10. We already have 10 during this year, 2025, okay? Don't forget, go to our YouTube channel, Academy Yat, okay, to check and see all of our episodes of every department of this clinic. Some people doesn't know that we are Academy. It's powered by Yat, okay? You have to connect our clinic with the Academy. That's why I want to make sure that you know who is Academy. Yesterday, we show you a case of a boy, 10 years old, with crossbite, unilateral crossbite. You can see the X-ray, you can see the panoramic and the cephalometric X-ray. Choices of appliance was Iraqs, aligners, or wait for permanent teeth. And the last result was 60% of you vote Iraqs, 31 aligners, and maybe 1 wait for permanent teeth. Very grown choices.
Grown choice?
Yes. Nowadays, we know that there's no way to wait on the permanent teeth because until 6 years old is the most I don't know, quick, very, very fast growing, and it's very important this phase of develop the symmetric craniofacial growing. But let me show you the case to see what was my choice on this boy. We had a patient with 10 years old. I don't want to show the whole face of the boy, but you can see that he turned his face to the left, and there must be show something. We can see that he's not doing he's straight on the body, but it's one of the shoulder higher than the other one, and it shows something. On the profile, he's a very good profile. His lips are closing, very relaxing. He doesn't need to close with force the lips. And on the history, he doesn't have any problem of the breathing or sleeping. And let me show you his upper maxilla, his upper midline is on with his face. We can see here that we have a constricted maxilla, okay? And we can see more on his right, more lower teeth than upper. It's very obvious, the crossbite on his right side. Let's see on the intraoral pictures. We have a constricted maxilla. You can see the mesial in rotation of the molar, okay? We can see the midline is not on upper and lower. We can see the crossbite on the right. On the left side, we have a very good relationship. But that is not a good occlusion. We have a functional deviation of the mandible to the right. If we ask him to put his mandible, his midlines on, you can see that it's going to be a bilateral crossbite. We have here the panoramic is not obvious any asymmetric side of the rim. We still have a good shape of the mandible. On the cephalometric measurements, we can see a very balanced face. We don't need to change any of this position of the maxilla or mandible according to the base of the crane. And this was my choice. First, I want to make sure that not all of the unilateral crossbite or bilateral crossbite, this is the first choice of just aligners. On this case, I discussed with the parents, like, we are going to start with aligners. This was 4 years ago. We wanted to see if we can expand dental alveolar expansion and try to manage him to, with his own mastication, go to develop his maxillar transfer dimension. Okay? Then, I discussed with the parents, like, I'm going to start with this kind of appliance. And if we see that we need more forces, if we need more another kind of appliance, we have the time to do it. And that's why they trust on my choice of the treatment. And we can see here my first simulation of the treatment. We expand, we just block the teeth that we don't want to move, because on the first phase of the treatment, our goal is not move teeth. We can move teeth when in a 80 years old man. On this phase, we only want to functional movement. We want to expand to do what? To get a better contact on the molars and the incisors, to get a good function of the system. We only ask to expand, we block the teeth, we open spaces, and we expand, we don't close, we want to constrict the lower arch to correct the crossbite. We plan elastic, crossbite elastic. I'm going to show you. We plan here. We know the hinge movement are more predictable to derotate this molar, and that's why, look, we ask first to move the molar, open space to get the better potential of the deformation of the plastic. We put the bottom of the palatal of the upper molars to use the crossbite elastics. We see that we have 31 stages, 31 aligners. On the lower, we don't want to move the lower teeth. We want to constrict the molars to correct that crossbite. Pay attention when you're asking the kids or the patient use elastics, whatever elastic, that vertical elastic. If you don't want to change the vertical dimension of this occlusion, you need to make sure that you are not allowed the plastic extrude any of the teeth. That's why we have the table of content of Spark that you can see. Let me show you again the video. You can see in any of the stages, you can see any movement of vertical movement to allow the elastic extrude the teeth. Then you have the result in 31 aligners. We already correct the crossbite, the right crossbite. Look how we didn't move any of the incisors, and you can see the midline is on. Why? Because we allow the mandible to get in the center of the maxilla, and that's why we coordinate upper and lower. We do a new register. We take a new pictures, extraoral pictures, intraoral pictures. You can see that everything is correct. But we remove the bottom. If you see here on this picture, that molar is not a perfect position according to the lower. That's why we prefer to do a new scanner, a new set of aligner to do what? To get a better relationship upper and lower, to get the best contact of that molar that is the pillar of the occlusion to get the transfer development of the maxilla and the mandible. We ask for 19 aligners just to correct. We ask the technician, or we do with our 3D control, buccal root torque. That was the first goal of this set of aligners, to get a better result of the contact. Get more expansion at 19 aligners. He's not the best position of his face, but he get in. Now he's losing the canines. We are getting on the last phase of the mixed dentition. And that's it. In 11 months, we finish our first phase of aligner with simple elastics and plastic, that is the aligners. But we have the updating sequence. 1 year without any retainer. We get this patient with a better position of his head according to the body. You can see that on this picture we don't have the whole body, but you can see him more straight. The posture is most balanced. He's still good relationship with the lips, good breathing, good chewing, bilateral chewing, and you can see he's still changing on the mixed dentition. We are on the last phase of the mixed dentition. That's why we decide don't do nothing. Let him grow. We have here, we still have some milk teeth. And after 3 years we finish this treatment, we have a big boy, very straight boy with good smile, midline on, lips, breathing, everything is very good. The only problem that we have here with this patient was we had a crossbite on the seventh, on the second molar, upper and lower. Must be because we treat him when he was 10 years old. And how do you say Herman?
German.
In English. Well, the little 7 was before to grow. It was on the same line of the 6. That's why he came, because if we treat him more earlier, like 6 years old, maybe we could help to develop on the better eruption position. Now we have to correct that. We don't want to leave him with that crossbite. That's why we decide to ask for more aligners. We decide to put this to try to help him with the elastic. But what is the problem? That is a disadvantage of the aligners, that we don't have enough structure of the tooth to push. Okay, we don't have the structure to push. What we did, we have here the problem, okay? We asked and we put, Maria put that button, it was very hard to glue on that position. We asked him to use elastics. What's the problem? Look how we didn't have the control of the extrusion of the elastic. And the lower 7 extruded and didn't have space for the upper to get down. And now what we have to do? We have to ask for new aligners to, we have to ask, try to manage, okay, we are going to ask new aligners to intrude the 7 and to give space for the upper 7 to extrude and try to use elastic. We are on this stage now. And thank you very much. Any questions on the Instagram? Okay. We have here our team, as always, happy team. And keep connect with us every Tuesday in the morning. I'm very thankful to my guests for my department. You are in the pictures.
Bravo.
And
La Marcolita.
see you soon. Bye-bye.